How's it going, everybody? This is Todd Abedrabbo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, it's time for another edition of Living with Disability. In this series, I talk about what life is like living with an intellectual disability, those that suffer from it, and how we can help those with an intellectual disability overcome the challenges and struggles that come along with having one, so that way they can have a chance to succeed at life. Now, in my most recent video, I talked a little bit about how an early diagnosis can affect somebody at a young age, and obviously that goes all the way into adulthood. And one of the challenges that usually comes with that is that usually it causes them to really question their own self-concepts and ultimately their ability to evolve as people. And one of the challenges involves making friendships. Usually you would have to have a lot of socialization with friends along with family and even your teachers, some of your classmates, and even some of your work colleagues as well, just so that way you can get very far in life. And unfortunately, having an intellectual disability like autism, like I do, can really affect the chances of doing that. However, there is a way that Best Buddies is able to help out with that. As I mentioned in last week's video, one of the tips that I mentioned in regards to helping those with an intellectual disability be able to overcome those challenges is to give them as much support as they possibly can. And one of the ways to do that is to develop friendships. And ultimately, that results in one of the pillars that Best Buddies New Jersey and Best Buddies International has. And I'm going to be talking about that for this video today. It's called the friendship pillar. And I'll share with you a little bit about what it is and what it involves, so that way people with intellectual disabilities have a chance to build the friendships they need to be able to get very far in life. So at Best Buddies International, they usually have a set of pillars that they usually follow as part of their mission to be able to help those with and without an intellectual disability succeed in life. And one of those pillars is the friendship pillar. And usually that pillar will usually involve helping those with intellectual disabilities make the friendships that they need to succeed in life. And usually they can come from anywhere. They can usually come from school, they can come from college, usually from work, sometimes special activities and all that stuff, or sometimes it can just be a buddy that you just like to hang out with all the time. However it is done, usually this pillar will help those with an intellectual disability get friendships that they need, so that way they can get very far. Like I said before, those with an intellectual disability, some of them can feel like that they end up being different compared to everybody else, and as a result it makes it so much harder for them to be able to really build the friendships that they need. And trust me, I'm one of those people. Throughout my years in school, especially in college, even now in work, I still struggle with being able to build the communication skills I need, so that way I can build friendships. Well, this pillar exclusively helps out those with an intellectual disability not only feel more confident in communicating in public, but also to make friends, because trust me, a huge web of it is going to be very important for those to be able to make it very far in life. Now, there are usually 6 avenues this pillar has to help those with an intellectual disability get those friendships. They usually start out all the way from elementary school and then continue all the way through high school. You have some chapters in colleges as well, and then also a couple of programs in adulthood that allows those to utilize those assets needed to build that web of friends that they want. And it usually starts literally right away as children. Usually there would be some elementary and middle schools that would have a Best Buddies chapter. So most of the time you will see all of those friendships start to develop there. And again, there are a web of chapters nationwide in schools, and usually it starts out in elementary and middle school leagues. Now, I don't know how many of these chapters there are in New Jersey, especially in elementary and middle schools, but I do know that there are a whole bunch of other Best Buddies state programs that usually have those chapters in elementary school or high school. So usually somebody that is like very young and is like really middle or elementary school age and has an intellectual disability, usually those programs in elementary and middle school, those are a great way to get your child an opportunity to start gaining those socialization skills, so that way they can get very far in school and ultimately do well in their classes as well. But this pillar doesn't usually expand out to its full potential until you reach high school. Now, usually you see a lot more chapters in high schools than you would normally see in elementary schools or middle schools. That's usually where you really try the best you can to really build as many friends as possible, because after high school, you really aren't sure if you're ever going to see many of those friends that you make in high school again. And so in high school, those Best Buddies chapters, those are a great way for those with intellectual disabilities disability to really start learning the ropes of adulthood and really just, build a whole web of friends, not just as freshmen, but also from people from other grades as well. In fact, I actually have a friend of mine that's also a Champion of the Year nominee. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he happens to have a Best Buddies chapter at his school where he goes to himself, and he happens to be one of the main runners of those chapters. So obviously, they are everywhere. In high school, if there is a chapter there, hey, get your child with an intellectual disability involved with that. There are a lot of people there that are involved with Best Buddies as volunteers that really want to help those with intellectual disabilities gain friendships, and really those chapters can help out a lot. Not only that, they can carry outside of school as well, whether it's in your clubs or activities or even in your sports teams, or maybe even just a night out, like at a diner or even at a movie theater or maybe even at a concert or something like that. Usually those chapters are a great way to really help those with intellectual disabilities get a footing not only in school in regards to building friendships, but to be able to carry them outside of it as well. I promise you those things are a much bigger benefit than you think. Then we get into college, and I think this is where the majority of chapters in schools usually tend to play out. In New Jersey alone, I think there's almost 10, 15, maybe more chapters in colleges across the state. I don't really know exactly how many of them, so I can't give an actual estimate, but in colleges, there are multiple chapters there that really help with being able to help give those with intellectual disabilities a chance to build friendships and also really just learn the ropes of adulthood. Get some advice from those that are really getting ready to go into the workforce to help those with gaining the skills needed to seek employment, or even just, just build socialization skills outside of college as a whole. For example, usually at the greater Princeton area, there's a Best Buddies walk that goes on there every single year. I've been there the last 3 years, and usually they have perhaps the most well-known Best Buddies collegiate chapter there is in the state of New Jersey. And they're not the only one. I know there's one in Princeton, obviously. I think there's also one in Seton Hall where this year's Friendship Walk in the North Jersey area took place. And I believe there are a whole bunch of chapters in all the other areas across the state as well. So trust me, they are everywhere. Whatever college that you go to, chances are they are going to have a Best Buddies chapter there. And so for those with intellectual disabilities, this basically could very well be their last chance until they graduate from college to really build a web of friendships. Because unlike in elementary, middle, and high school, in colleges, chances are this is the area where the majority of your friendships could carry into adulthood. So obviously, do the best you can to be able to get those with intellectual disabilities involved in those chapters and really just get them involved in all the activities. I know they have a bunch of really cool public trips as well, a whole bunch of activities, and even some special events as well, just like the Friendship Walks like I mentioned before at Seton Hall, the College of New Jersey, and all those universities that take place during the spring. So obviously, those areas are a great place to get your child with intellectual disabilities a chance to build friendships. And then after college, what happens after that? Because then it gets really challenging. Then you have to find a job, which ultimately those with intellectual disabilities are able to do most of the time. However, the problem is then building a social life outside of work and at home as an adult, because you really tend to struggle with being able to build friends outside of work and at home when you have so many things going on in your life. However, there are a couple of adult programs that can help those with intellectual disabilities continue to have those socialization skills and build on them outside of those areas. And one of them is the Citizens Program. Now, this is mainly a program in which you pair someone that is a volunteer or a member of Best Buddies that doesn't have an intellectual disability, and they usually pair those up with somebody that has an intellectual disability. And usually, most of the time, those are a great area to build friendships. So usually those with an intellectual disability, they get paired with one without one. And usually they just hang out, ultimately they just have a lot of fun, go out to places to enjoy eating or even, just do some real fun activities as well. And usually the majority of friendships that are built in adulthood through Best Buddies, they usually come through the Citizens Program. Now, I'm not a member of the Citizens Program. I already mentioned to you a bit about the Jobs Program, which I'm a part of. I'm not a part of the Citizens Program, so I cannot tell you through my experience what that is like for me, but I can tell you right now, I know a lot of people that are a part of Best Buddies New Jersey that are a part of the Citizens Program. And I can tell you a lot of friendships have been built there as a result of the Citizens Program. It is a lot more beneficial than you think. And usually friendships that are built through the Citizens Program, they can carry all the way through the rest of your adult life. And they are a lot easier to manage once you're able to make them. And it isn't just in New Jersey. This is pretty much everywhere. Usually I believe there are some in New York. I believe there's a Citizens Program in Pennsylvania. There's one in Delaware. There's in Maryland. Pretty much every single state and area that has a Best Buddies program, chances are there is a Citizens Program. And this program prides on building friendships in adulthood. So obviously those adults with an intellectual disability, this is pretty much their best route to be able to build friendships outside of school or work. And trust me, it is really beneficial for them. So really, those that are without an IDD and those with an IDD, you pair them together, there's going to be a lot of magic that ends up happening. Finally, the last remaining program that is a part of this pillar is the eBuddies program. Now, this is pretty similar to the Citizens Program. The only difference is that this usually more happens online. So usually it will be the same exact thing. Pair somebody without an IDD or somebody with an intellectual disability, put them together and just make them more like online buddies. Maybe just, like just write emails to each other, see how they're doing, and even have like Zoom meetings, just to see how well they're doing. Have a little bit of fun and maybe do some online activities as well. Obviously online video gaming is very popular nowadays, whether it's through your video game consoles or even on a computer as well. Maybe have a little bit of a game night there, or maybe just, like play some puzzles, or even, just share some of your favorite things online as well. Usually eBuddies, it works a little bit differently than you will usually see it with the Citizens Program, but it still has the same effect. You just bring people together and build friendships, and they usually work most of the time. And the best part about that is that they don't just have to be from New Jersey. Usually one person would be from one state, and then the other person that is paired with them, they can be from a whole different state as well. At least that's exactly what I think. I mean, if I'm wrong, just let me know, but at least that's what I think. So usually they can be from anywhere. Friendships can literally be built anywhere online through this program. And just like with the Citizens Program, friendships that are made through eBuddies, they carry all the way into adulthood. So trust me, those programs, even though they work differently than the in-person Citizens Program, they work. And those are pretty much it. So usually school chapters from elementary, middle, and high school, college chapters, and then usually the two programs after college, the eBuddies and also the Citizens Program, those are usually the best ways to help those with intellectual disabilities to be able to build friendships and really overcome the struggles that they have with an early diagnosis of an intellectual disability. Again, one of the struggles that people with intellectual disabilities have is being able to have good communication skills and also good socialization skills, because they will need to both of them to be able to build friendships, not just in school and college, but also at work, with family, even meeting new people as well. These programs are built to help those with an intellectual disability to be able to build those skills, so that way they can be able to build the whole web of friends that they possibly could have. Again, I'm not a part of the two programs that are after college, the eBuddies or the Citizens Program, but I can tell you based on all of those that I've seen that have partaken in this program, they work. Those programs can help build friendships, especially with the colleges and the schools as well. So if you are a parent of somebody with an intellectual disability, hey, those chapters can help those with an intellectual disability gain those skills they need. So if you have a child with an intellectual disability, get them involved with those school chapters, especially in college as well, because I can tell you right now, those chapters, they can help those with an intellectual disability build friendships far beyond their school years. And the same thing goes for all the programs, the eBuddies and then the Citizens Program. If you're somebody with an intellectual disability or somebody without one, if you're just a volunteer at Best Buddies, whatever, yay, these two programs can help build friendships as well. Get involved in those two and really just see if you can build a friendship from there, because I promise you, to friendships, you are really going to need them to be able to succeed in life. And trust me, it will feel like a very lonely life if you're going through this without any friends at all. I can tell you right now, the friendship pillar is extremely important at Best Buddies International, and having those chapters as well as these programs in place can help those with an intellectual disability succeed in life and also build a huge web of friends. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I really hope that this really gives inspiration to those with or without an intellectual disability. Get involved in these programs because I can promise you they work and they can help with overcoming the struggles of building friendships at a young age or as an adult with an intellectual disability. Again, I'm still waiting to figure out who my mission partner is, so hopefully within the next video that I make, we will be able to find out who it is. But either way, it's still already in the Champion of the Year campaign, so if you haven't done so already, please do so. The link is in the description below. Your help and your support and donations really matter, not just to my campaign, but also for all the great programs and chapters that Best Buddies New Jersey and Best Buddies International has. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's blogs, plushes, or challenges, you name it. Leave it in the comments below. I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you're having another great day. And as always, I hope to see you all again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.